I would say definitely do it. I think you get challenged, you get held accountable. I think there are a whole number of relatively simple business tools and methodologies, some of which you may be aware of, some of which you may not be aware of. But I think having somebody working with you to help you implement those in your business is a massive improvement. You really do start to see improvements very quickly. We've had an interesting journey. We started in 1992 and we've grown the business phenomenally, but we started to get to a point 5-6 years ago where we were just sort of starting to stagnate a little bit and just find growth a little bit harder. You know, it was quite frustrating and difficult to break out from where we were. What appealed with ActionCOACH was it was actually a coach working specifically on our business, whereas group coaching was a more general business techniques to apply to your own business. It was quite an interesting journey because you feel like you know where you're going, but then when you start working with the coach and you start seeing the holes in what you thought was the vision and the journey, it really does give you a good opportunity to take stock and get a clear view on going forwards. Oh yes, definitely, it holds me accountable, which I think as a business leader is quite important. I hold my team accountable, but nobody necessarily holds me accountable. That's quite an interesting aspect of ActionCOACH, is that as a business leader and owner, you are held accountable. It is quite lonely at the top. I think the biggest change in the business has been in morale. We've done a lot of work on margin improvements and improvements in a number of areas. The power of the multiplication can make a massive difference to margin improvement and profitability. And I think as a team, when we sat down and did a session on that, we identified nearly £600,000 worth of additional margin improvements that we could take out of the business. And I think we all found that quite staggering. We've only been working with ActionCOACH for 8 months. This year, our results will be improved by 582,000 over and above our, sort of previous, which, would be around about sort of 50% increase in pre-tax profit. I think that's what ActionCOACH has brought to the business. Personally, as we talked about earlier in the interview, I felt quite lonely and like I was trying to lead the way on my own, which is quite a difficult thing. And now I definitely feel like I've got the team behind me and they are stepping up and starting to take some of the strain. Yeah, I think definitely sort of less stressed at home, particularly with holidays. Previously, I was thinking while I was on holiday about what's happening at work and looking at emails. Certainly now I find it a lot easier just to switch off and know that the team's more than competent to get on with it. If there's a real issue, they will get hold of me, but I'm not taking calls for fairly minor issues which happened previously.